Hey guys!
Hey everybody! Hi everyone, it's Peter here. I'm just making a video to address a need that's arisen on the internet lately regarding common law. Monica's helped create a website and stuff for the common law information that I'm going to supply.
This is the website, Common Law Embassy. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
that we can help set up the systems that are going to be required.
So over the last year and a half, Peter and I and our team, we've been trying to set up the native car plates, but we got pushed out by Waka Kotahi, and I believe another group got funding for native plates or something. So that kind of sucked, but we're, constantly in the battle in the courts with it. And the other thing is I've done an international court case too. I'm pushing for the sea passes to be recognised as passports, because if we're serious about setting up the systems in place that we require, then we need to take it all the way. And so Peter's just going to do the voiceover for the booklet that the judge accepted in Queensland in regards to the sea passes.
The Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy Immunity Sea Pass Identity Cards Detailed Description, Function and Purpose, a booklet created by Monica Eastick for both the Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy.
So yeah, that's the plan. That's what we're up to. Monica's been busy. I've been busy
on different projects.
Yeah. So yeah.
What projects have you been working on, Pete? What's your new projects?
Oh, like I'm still doing all of the court stuff. So, and I'm still doing Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa cards.
And you noticed that there's something different in the courts, eh?
Oh, the courts, there's big discussions going on about what Monica and I have helped you guys do. And things are really changing and racing ahead right at the moment. For better or worse, the outcome will be on us soon, and we'll find out what's going to happen as far as the other people are concerned. But anyway, I'll be carrying on doing the things and, helping you all out. And also on a lighter note, I'm going to try and divert a little bit of my attention to creating a first-person view drone racing team. So that's something I'm going to do.
What the hell? What's that?
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm going to make a drone racing team.
The
flying mowers.
Is there races?
Yeah, there's races.
Where?
They have them all over the world. So, but I'm going to try and make a team of people from here, and an Indigenous kind of team.
What the hell? That's so cool. Has anyone done it before?
No.
Why are you telling it to people? They'll steal your idea.
No,
Why
I'm
don't we launch it
already
properly?
really well established. I'm getting ready to do the thing. So
where are you going to fly them?
We've got places to fly them. You just go to parks for practice. I'm going to teach young people how to build, maintain and fly them so that they can break into the racing scene. They already have $1 million prize money.
Go.
We're talking about the Crown Law case, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're going, it's going to be hard for them. Well, it is. It's going to be hard for them to prove they have jurisdiction over the man. Okay, because how do you prove you have jurisdiction over the man when it's the consent of the governed? He'll have to consent, but he's already decided that he doesn't want to be in their jurisdiction anymore and he's with us. Okay, so by the consent of the governed, he said that he wants to be governed by that guy over there. Yeah? So now how do they prove they have jurisdiction over him? The same thing.
Yeah, and so it's quite funny. Peter and I both thought up completely different purposes and uses and
And
functions.
that's how we combine to make the cards that you guys now have.
Yeah, and so these have been accepted in the international court case that we have done in Queensland. The judge accepted these papers. It's still what is it? Proceedings. There's still proceedings.
Yeah, it's still being involved. Yeah, they're going ahead with their.
But they
thing.
accepted these papers, and I stipulated in the 10-page booklet that sea passes are passports.
Yeah.
So
it's just, yeah.
and I used the international treaties and conventions, and they basically have to uphold those. The judges have to.
And so he said it would be it'd work in her favour.
Yeah, so there's another hearing, but I don't see how they're going to lose. And what I'm going to do for everyone learning is to put this up after this little chat.
On the internet.
Yeah,
on both sides. So
I think this video is just going to be launched on Peter Martin's.
Oh, but I mean this paperwork here, how the cards work.
Yeah, we're doing the video, Peter, and we're launching it on your new website.
So but it'll eventually be on both.
So if you want to see the video, you have to go to www.commonlaw-embassy.com to see how the paperwork that the judge accepted.
Yeah.
So
and how it all works together.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just wanted to say, and Monica agrees with me on this. I know that we actually really think you guys. You're the whole reason we did this, and
the whole reason why we have been able
to
go further. And thank you for the card orders. And we are overwhelmed with card orders, but we're going to just
we're slamming them out.
Through them this
but
week.
just thank you for being the ones to adopt this knowledge
really fast as well,
and take it on. Without you, we couldn't have got as far as we have. And I'm hoping that this is the beginning of something really good.
Yeah, and kind of cool. So all those people that were confused about Indigenous stuff and they just wanted common law stuff, they can go to Peter's website. All those people who are confused about common law stuff and legislative stuff,
they just want to go to that.
And they're comfortable and confident to use the Indigenous and Native stuff in the courts. Then come over to my website, or if you want to see the both of us, go to Māori Rangers.
And I'll still make Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa cards.
Oh yeah, well of course you are.
Yeah, and Monica will still, assist me on some of my ambassador's duties in the common law.
I'm not going to do any common law paperwork.
She's going to be busy with her study.
Yeah, I mean, I really kind of just prefer the Native and Indigenous stuff.
Busy with her study too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
It's because I've been busy with this international court case and the study.
And I'm never ending with court cases and phone calls, and I'm sure you guys know that. On with the conversation. And the truth is that for a long time, what Monica and I have been doing has really been a labour of love. There's been no real.
What? You suck at promo stuff. Just
I'm
go.
not
It's
trying
been
to promo.
okay. Just been having a real moment, heart to heart.
I'm just moaning, and you can cut pieces out or whatever.
Okay, darling, go for it. I'm sorry, darling.
You're always sorry, baby.
I'm sorry I left you.
Anyway, you didn't, and we're all good. But the thing is that, hopefully, when we really make a push towards bringing back proper principles of common law. So yeah.
Can you explain common law a little bit about how it's actually perceived to be used here, and then how it's supposed to be done?
Oh yes, okay. So New Zealand is apparently a common law jurisdiction, but unfortunately, the people who make the decisions in the common law, which is the judges,
judiciary.
Yeah, the judiciary. They've been bound by legislation to be subordinate to government and to legislation. So judges understand legislation. And so what that means is that if the government passes a piece of legislation, then judges are bound to find a decision that fits into the legislation that's been passed down from government, and then that becomes part of the common law. So it's not really common law.
Because there's no separating, Peter? So you have the executive branch of the government, and then beneath that you have the judiciary, and then under that you have like ministers, and then the ministers make laws, and then they push that through the courts, and then it really just serves the executive branch.
So really what should happen is all three branches of government should be on the same level, administrative, executive, and...
Or independent of each other at least.
Well, they're always independent, but they should be at the same level.
But that's a government. See, this is a corporate entity, so
It's a top-down structure.
People confuse New Zealand government for a government, but actually they're just a corporation, and that's why they have that
top-down structure. Okay, so it really isn't a government, it's a corporation owned by another corporation. But all that aside, if it was a proper government, there'd be a couple of things that would be different. Firstly, we'd be issued actual money, which is gold or silver coin, issued by government, and we'd also have a proper legislative mechanism for correcting bad law. Whereas in New Zealand, because it's a corporate structure, top-down executive office at the top, if the executive office passes some piece of legislation that's really contrary to the will of the people and the common good, there's literally not very much that we could do because there is no legislative mechanism to correct bad law. Once that law has been passed down, the judiciary are bound by it, and they will find for it, and it will become part of the common law. So, that's the risk that you have here. And to be honest, that's the risk you have when you don't have a written constitution, which constitutes the government in a lawful way and also defines the relationship between that governing body and the people. So that's the thing about it. And because we don't have that, and there is no chance of it occurring with the government being an oxymoron like they are, okay, they are a constitutional monarchy, and those two words are in complete opposition. A monarchy is at the will of a monarch, and a constitution is the will of the people. So how can the will of the people and the will of the monarch be one governing body here? They can't. It's a lie. And the truth is, we need to get together under the common law and write a proper body of law for governing us together.
Why do we have to be governed?
We have to have, like 10 commandment laws, not.
Do we need to implement them, or are they just common sense?
I guess there's a lot of levels of understanding and comprehension across society. Some people may need to have it written out.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
I personally don't need to know right and wrong from pieces of paper at the government's office. But, like some people, I guess it's really only important for those who like to test the boundary, of what's right and wrong. For the great majority of people, they're quite happy to carry on with their lives as normal,
law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, you're just normal people. I guess you call them the normal people. They're not interested in testing the boundaries of the law and whether that's killing a person or that's killing a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most people don't want to cause harm anyway.
Or a commotion.
Well, that when it comes down to it, that's the truth about the common law. The common law is a group of torts, which are wrongs, like breach of the peace, trespass, and all those sorts of things, which are minor misdemeanors, minor offences. And then you have, do no harm, cause no loss, and be honourable in your contracts. And if you fail any one of those things on any one of those counts, that's a major transgression, and restorative justice mechanism has to kick in, which means to put right the wrong, and to be honest, if you've, killed someone, then your duty really under the common law would be to replace that person.
So in the interim, people who are being forced to go through the courts, they can still seek remedy. That's
True.
part of the New Zealand legislation.
Yeah, so that there is some parts of the common law still exist in the legislation because it was based on imperial law. But in saying that, like the truth is that we probably really need to
Have a massive review, eh?
Yeah, just move away from kings and queens and the will of one person being the thing that governs the whole body of people.
Although I found that the British monarch were pretty good to us, weren't they?
Yes and no. I mean, the British monarchs, they were good to people, yes.
Well, they didn't Prince Charles and all that come over here and offer to help?
Yeah, they offered to help, but then, didn't they just fucking set a whole big section of their own people on fire because they didn't like them being so close to London Bridge?
What? Who? Prince Charles?
The fire of London was started by the royals.
Was it?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, you can never really tell.
Yeah, that's the thing. I reckon royals get blamed for heaps of stuff.
Well, they murder each other. That's proven. Chop off each other's heads and do unscrupulous things to gain power. But, all that aside, they're probably good people. As far as working on things, I don't get to work on.
So who's in your hovercraft team?
My drone racing team.
Yeah.
Well, there's Taylor and Kyle, of course.
Is there a club that you can do that? Or
Yeah, there is.
did you make it?
Yeah. No, it's it's like any sport. You get your own kit. Say you want to play golf, mate. You don't go down to the golf course and somebody, gives you a set of clubs and, Oh no, it's not like that. You buy your own set of clubs and then you go down and practice, and if you get good enough, you can.
You said you can't do it hovering at the bloody parks. You said it's illegal or something.
No, it's not illegal. You've got to ask permission of the people that you're flying over. But like if you put signs up and say that there's racing in an area, then you've notified people duly, that kind of thing. And basically how it is like if you know the drone rules, and there has to be some rules about drones. So the 101 rules say that you're allowed to fly pretty much in any area, as long as you're not
interfering with an airport.
Well, you can even in an airport area, within 5 kilometres of an airport, you're allowed to do closed-in flight, which is okay. So like I could fly a drone in an area if I had permission up to the height of the buildings in town, because a plane's not going to go that low. And if they do go lower than the buildings in town, they're crashing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's closed-in flight. You're allowed to do that up to the level of trees or buildings in your local area. But you're not allowed to fly over someone else's property without permission. So just those kinds of basic things. But like public areas, this is where I have a dispute. Local councils and that they claiming ownership of the land and that we're not allowed to fly over their land. Okay, so really I'm an objection to councils and that saying that public areas, parks and the like are their property and we can't fly over them. You guys don't own that. It's actually owned by the people. Anyway, that's the end of that.
Cool. Is there anything else you've been working on? Products? Talk about.
No distinctive features. They're exactly the same as the other cards. They work in exactly the same way.
I thought you made some common law cards specific. Like this. Okay, done.
That's the.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop that now.
Yeah.
There should be enough little bits and pieces in there, maybe.
The Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy Immunity C-Pass Identity Cards, Detailed Description, Function and Purpose. A booklet created by Monica Eastick for both the Common Law Embassy, and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy. This is the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy and the Common Law Embassy's newest card version 5.1. 5.1 is written on the back of the card, and that clearly identifies it from the other versions. You can view these cards on either website. The Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy Diplomatic Immunity CPass identity cards, detailed description and function. The card bearer chooses the writing at the top of the card. From these options, ancestral lineage of the card bearer is a common theme. The geographical area of the card bearer is also a common theme. Occupation of the card bearer, i.e. his designated role within society, is a common theme. And any other significant preference of the card bearer is in fact chosen as the banner at the top of the card. CPSSG, SPSG is the correct sentence structure, correct sentence passe, sentence grammar. This is the tool used to disambiguate the words on the card so that they could not be used in a confusing manner. Basically, the words on the CPass are not in the language of legalese, they are plain English, and the CSS, CSPG, SG implies that in the contract that the card is. The card is a contract, and the contract is when something becomes smaller. We've placed a lot of valuable information on our CPass cards so that our diplomats no longer have to carry all of their many documents with them. And the card is in a convenient size and complies with aviation regulations and also the regulations for passports. Tax that are placed upon the cards, both Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy cards and the Common Law Embassy cards, are for organisations to use for the purpose of protecting the people. Basically, international covenants protect us in our diplomatic mission, and an embassy is also a protectorate, and the native people, Indigenous people, have the right to be protected by us, and they have chosen to do that by purchasing a card from us.
The flag on this card is a postal vessel. That is so that our diplomats can be securely posted from one post to another post, from one mission post to another mission post. The flag on this card is a court venue. The flag on this card is a court venue, therefore if any disputes occur, for example on the side of the road, then the diplomatic dispute can be remedied on the spot. You can use the flag on the card as a court venue, and you will no longer have to clog up the court system. This also encourages diplomatic remedy and peace. Our Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy diplomatic mission was designed to bring peace in the Pacific, and on a larger scale, we hope to achieve world peace. And have you ever wondered why everything starts here? Like, even all the trading starts here. Like, the trading doesn't start in New York, and the trading doesn't start in Switzerland, it starts here. And that's because all things must start from here. Because I think it's got something to do with us being in the God zone. So that's why many of the prophecies are also that world peace will come from here. Yeah. So imagine if that was this diplomatic mission, and it's only going to grow because we've made it easy for everybody to participate. And we're trying to break everything down so that people can really see what we're trying to achieve. So we thank you for supporting us as well. Okay, so the diplomats participating in our Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy and Common Law Embassy diplomatic mission are entitled to diplomatic privileges and immunities for international organisations, because we're a nation called Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa, different nation, different jurisdiction. Okay, in an actual recognised nation with a recognised jurisdiction, and we're the larger nation. Okay, so Wakamingi-o-Ngā-Hapu is the Native Autonomous Authority. We don't have to dispute that. That's a fact. And it's a fact that Wakamingi-o-Ngā-Hapu Native Autonomous Authority are the receiving state members. Okay, and so the receiving state chooses who is eligible for diplomatic immunity, not the other way around. The New Zealand Foreign Affairs Minister, Nanaia Mahuta, represents the sending state. She represents the New Zealand government. And it's not really up to Nanaia Mahuta who receives diplomatic privileges and immunities. It's up to us, the receiving state. Okie dokie. What else is there? Oh, the New Zealand government is bound by the Te Tiriti o Waitangi 1840, and they must uphold the terms and conditions within the Indigenous version of the Treaty of Waitangi. And within the Indigenous version, in the Te Tiriti o Waitangi, it states that the Wakamingi-o-Ngā-Hapu is the recognised receiving state by royal decree, international treaty, and the United Nations Safety and Security Services, and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy. Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy holds the Wakamingi-o-Ngā-Hapu National Registry, and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy reserves all the rights to issue and revoke our diplomatic immunity C-Pass identity cards in accordance with international law and Indigenous law, mainly in accordance with the Kaupapa Suppression Action 2020 law that was activated, moved and lodged with Crown Law. Okay, Ambassador for Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy, Monica Eastick, created the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy as a protectorate for the people of the Pacific. And Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy was also mandated with the blessing of Wakamingi-o-Ngā-Hapu officials and members and many other native peoples.
Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa diplomatic immunity card creators Peter James Martin, who made 1.1, the first version of the cards, over 10 years ago, and 2.1 and 3.1 in February 2020. Monica Eastick co-designed version 3.1, 4.1 and 5.1 of the cards, and also has the design rights of these cards. Version 1.1 is available to view on the Common Law Embassy website, www.commonlaw-embassy.com. Card designs rights are reserved by the creators of the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Diplomatic Immunity C-Pass and the Common Law Embassy Diplomatic C-Pass. Wakaminenga ki nai te rangi koe anaki is part of the Wakaminenga-o-Ngā-Hapu. The Wakaminenga is a gathering of the tino rangatira of the hapus, and they come together. This is Sky's personal hapu, and it's like an address. It's a family tribe and also ties the people to the land. The name is called a capture, and it's the same name that you find on the birth certificates. We place the colons and dashes into the name so that it becomes a distinct name that is unique to the card bearer, like a name that is a picture or a glyph. Alright, this helps protect the people and identify them from other people who may have similar name or similar look. The photograph is taken by Peter Martin of the Common Law Embassy, or Monica Eastick of Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy, and we both produce cards and do the same procedures. This was taken in our offices, respectively Christchurch and the Waikato, and this is done when the card bearer comes to us for a card. Generally, other times people send their identifications and a photograph, and those two are matched by the ambassadors, and the details are put onto the card, and the records are kept of that information.
Thanks for supporting the largest diplomatic mission in modern history. Please phone Peter directly if you are still waiting on card orders that were purchased through Peter's sites. Peter's emails are becoming overloaded with interest, so make sure you call him on 021 0424 434 if you're experiencing your card order delays, and he'll make the card on the spot. Likewise with me, Monica, make sure you phone me directly if you're experiencing card purchase delays or if you have other card inquiries. I just have to point out that I'm booked up until January, so I can no longer take any more court cases. So I'm only doing card orders now and working on the international court case to have our CPass identity cards recognised as international passports. And we'll keep you updated with the progress of that. CPasses to be recognised as passports is a work in progress, so we'll do regular updates in video format on both the Common Law Embassy website, Māori Ranger Security Division website, and the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy website. Secured party. Our diplomatic community CPass identity card bearers are secured by international treaty and conventions and are protected by the United Nations Safety and Security Services since May 2004. In May 2004, Carla White from Waitangi took a copy of the He Whakaputanga, the Te Tiriti o Waitangi, and the 1834 trading flag over to New York, where the United Nations Safety and Security Services recognized these items and stamped a copy of the He Whakaputanga and the Te Tiriti o Waitangi for both Carla White and Colt Gregory. This action, I believe, was a turning point in our nation's history, and I think it's equally as important for everybody to participate in their personal freedoms, because I think it's pretty clear that we've identified a lot of the systemic harm happening to our people. But the international treaties and conventions are there to protect us. So I'll be doing a series of videos about that. Okay, Sky's CPass expires in 2026 on the 31st of December. So all of the CPasses expire on the 31st of September. Baby CPasses last for 5 years, and adults and children CPasses last for 10 years. And they all expire on the same day, which is the 31st of December every year. The serial number on Sky's CPass is her unique customer number. And the serial numbers are in numerological order on our Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy database registry or the Common Law Embassy database registry. They're all in order. We've also ensured that there's going to be no number overlap, so I take segments of numbers. So I've pre-booked the segments of numbers, and so has Peter, so that our numbers won't clash. The British monarch recognised the Wakamingia o Ngā Hapu as being the native autonomous authority, and you can see that when you refer to the 1835 He Whakaputanga. It's written in there. Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy holds the national registry for the Wakamingia o Ngā Hapu o Nutireni, and we make the identity cards for the various native and indigenous people and their hapu, which means family tribes, of the islands of Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa. Our prices are $50, and we are respectful and considerate to the native and indigenous peoples, and our very low prices reflect our consideration. Our CPass cards are $5. They work out to be $5 per year for adults and $2.50 per year for children. So that's really good value, which is another reason why we have so many orders. So we thank you for your purchases, and your card should be with you shortly if you have ordered. Because they are so cheap, I think that's why they're so popular. Barcodes. Okay, so the barcode has Sky's name in it. So you'll see the colons in front of the word Sky. And then we put another colon there, and then example, and then dash, and then colon, and then yeah. Well, that's so that I believe that's so that it breaks up the format, so nobody can trade your name, because the trading names have to be done in capital letters. So that's a way that you can make sure that nobody trades your name. So if you're giving your name in capital letters to people, they might be trading you. But we, secure party, everyone, we guarantee that we don't trade people's identities. So that's one of our guarantees. And also I think it's kind of cool because it looks like a picture or a glyph. So I quite like that style. But the barcode is an aviation requirement for the passports, and it provides extra identification security for both our diplomats and the government security officer officials. There has also been changes to the barcode. So when we type in the barcode information, we no longer put the entire name. We just put the initials and the unique serial number. And that's to make the barcode more effective. When you clog it up too much, it might not scan. So that's what we've done.
Monica Eastick created the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy, and Peter Martin created the Common Law Embassy, and they worked together with the blessing of Te Wakaminenga. The embassy was begun in 2004 and started to identify the members of the Wakaminenga. After that, they started identifying members of people who lived in Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa. This is the day that Sky was born. Sky was born on the 22nd of September, and that date is recorded on the card. This is the day that the card bearer was born. The card bearer has that date on the card as part of the record of their existence. Kaitiaki is an Indigenous word for caretaker, and diplomat indicates that the card bearer is a participant in the Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy diplomatic mission, the largest diplomatic mission in modern history. Monica Eastick drew the mermaid and designed the logo in August 2020, and Peter Martin digitally enhanced, watermarked the blue wave effect with the mermaid logo as the background for their cards. The Common Law Embassy and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy both used this logo for the majority of the card production in modern time. The design rights of Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa diplomatic immunity cards belong to their creators, Peter James Martin and Monica Eastick. Version 5.1 back of the card, issued by Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy, Ambassador Monica Eastick. Version 5.1 back of the card, issued by Common Law Embassy, Ambassador Peter James Martin, copyright. Version 5.1 back of the cards feature the required international treaties and Australian and New Zealand legislation required for our diplomatic mission participants to display whilst travelling. International Proclamation of Independence, 1835, hei whakaputanga o te rangatiratanga o Nutorini. New Zealand legislation, Diplomatic Privileges and Immunity Act, 1968, Section 92A. New Zealand legislation, Bill of Rights Act 1990, Section 10, 11 and 21. New Zealand legislation, Passports Act 1992, Section 2. In accordance to Australian and New Zealand aviation standards, the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Diplomatic Immunity Sea Pass Identity Card is issued in accordance with the Passports Act and complies with aviation standards.
In 2011, after Peter had exited the New Zealand government and he was recognised by the Internal Affairs Minister at the time, that he was head of state of his personal estate, which was the Peter James Martin International. And Peter activated a diplomatic commission in 2011, and that's when he first started making these diplomatic immunity cards. But this is kind of cool. It's kind of an extension of what needed to be done, and so that's why we work together. So Common Law Embassy was the reason why Peter started Common Law Embassy is because we could identify that it was inappropriate to use a lot of the common law things in the Indigenous embassy. So and it was kind of not very appropriate to use the Indigenous stuff in the common law embassy. So we've separated the two, and they have a different beginning. Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy comes from a different beginning, and Common Law Embassy comes from a different beginning, but we work in partnership because not only do we share the design, production and sales rights of the Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Diplomatic Community CPass identity cards, we've conducted a lot of projects together, and we will continue to conduct projects together, although we'll be in separate embassies, which is great. So yeah, we thank you for joining the largest diplomatic mission in modern history, and for your support, because we don't get any funding, and so this was all designed from our combined intellectual property and forethought. Yeah. We're going to be lodging a lot more videos now on Peter's embassy. I'm going to be promoting Peter's embassy a lot. So make sure you go check out his embassy, and all of the new videos for Common Law Embassy will be over on his website. Welcome to the Common Law Embassy Diplomatic Community CPass Identity Cards Detailed Description, Function and Purpose booklet designed by Monica Eastick for Common Law Embassy, Peter James Martin and Peter James Martin International, and Te-Moana-Nui-A-Kiwa Embassy.
I'd just like to say thank you to Monica for all the things that she's done for me over the year that we've been working on this project, year and a half now. Without her, none of this would have actually been possible. So I just wanted her to know from Peter that Peter actually really does thank Monica for all the things that she's done. She's turned this obscure knowledge into almost common knowledge.
Like common law.
It's a pretty hard thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.